Hello, I'm Will. Welcome to another episode of The Woo. Now, today we are talking about interval running. Let's find out what it is and why we do it. So you might have heard the term interval running. Well, what is it and how do we do it? Well, first off, let's talk about what it actually is. Well, it's basically a structured session where you would run at a fairly fast, intense pace for short periods of time. And after each interval, there is a recovery period. Now, that can be walking, it can be a slow jog. So what is the interval pace in interval running? Well, it's not really a certain pace because everyone's interval pace is different to your body. So my interval pace would be different to your interval pace, and your interval pace would be different to the next person's. What it basically is an effort considered around 80 to 90% now, or like an 8 out of 10 effort. If you think of 10 being an absolute sprint down the road, think of an 8 out of 10 would be a hard effort, but it's not trying to kill yourself while you're doing the interval. So you might be asking, well, why do we run it in an interval? Why don't we just go out there on our daily runs and try and run that little bit harder and that little bit longer? Well, we want to maximize the amount of time we are able to run at high intensity, at a consistent pace and a consistent effort. The best way to do that is having it structured in short intervals. So essentially, you could actually waste your session when you run these harder, long runs without sort of any recovery, and you don't really get that sort of feel of consistency. You might drop pace off, which if you drop that pace off, it could be well below your interval pace. Remember, your interval pace should be around 80 to 90% or like an 8 out of 10 effort. You might drop to a 6 out of 10 and you might not know because you're breathing heavy, you're doing short, shallow breathing, your form's gone off, you're trying to recover because you're fatiguing and you can't keep that sort of intensity through the whole session that you're running. This is the point of interval running. We can control all that, we can maximize the time that you spend at high intensity, and you can recover, which is really important. So let's move on to the benefits of interval running. So when we run at these sort of short intense periods, the 8 out of 10 to 80 to 90%, we are basically running at a threshold, a real hard workout. Each recovery period allows your body to sort of adapt and get stronger and more efficient at recovering each time. And it's really important to get that recovery included into this interval session. Think of it as like giving your body time to practice. The more practice it gets, the more running efficiency you achieve. It means your body's VO2 max capacity will be improved. So VO2 max is basically, how I understand it anyway, is the amount of oxygen your entire body can use during periods of long intensity. So the higher the VO2 max capacity of somebody basically means you can use more oxygen, thus creating more energy. So it also prepares you mentally for that sort of hard push that you might find on a race day, or if you're doing your own time trial. Not very comfortable, it's a hard workout, trying to squeeze that time down. There's always a little period where you just got to try and push yourself. Interval training gives you a little bit of a taste of that mental toughness that you need. So let's go do an interval session. So there are many types of interval sessions and they're all structured differently with times, distances. So in my session, I'm going to be using a Garmin. There's other things you can use. With the interval session, you're going to be running at around zone 4. If you are doing heart rate training, this is where you would sort of sit in this sort of intensity. So this actual 10K training plan that I'm doing at the moment is a 8-week training plan for a 42-minute 10K. That's what I'm trying to get near, and that will be on another episode when I try and do that. It's not my plan, it's a plan from another YouTuber who's got a great channel, Ben Parks. You can go buy advanced plans, beginner plans, intermediate plans. Go to his channel, go have a look at his website. Yeah, great plans, go check him out. It starts off with a 15-minute conversational pace, which is easy running, and you just go down, warm up, nice easy 15 minutes before the interval session. Then you move on to the actual interval session itself, where it's going to be 10 times 2 minutes at interval pace with a 2-minute walk recovery. Coming to the end of the interval. 2 minutes. That's what this session is. Sometimes it's 1 minute, sometimes it's longer. Depends what sort of session. Oh, just going to finish now. Second one. Oh. A little bit up maybe. And the second one. The third one. It's my third one. This is where I push to the end. Woo! So that's how a lot of drink. 3 sips, nothing more. You don't want the water sloshing around in your stomach. Get ready. A minute until the next interval. Fourth interval. Ooh, coming to the end. I'm a lot more sweaty than before, and yeah, my hair's probably all over the place. But that's what it's supposed to be looking like. And I'm done. And a 2-minute walk recovery. Yay. Probably have another sip of water now. So now to finish off the interval session, it's a 15-minute cool down, which will take me roughly back to my house. It's about 2.5 kilometers away from here. So you can see from that sort of interval session that I've got around, a 20-minute solid, consistent pace and effort through the whole session at running at intensity. The recoveries allowed my body to really adapt to the situation and be able to recover fully for the next interval round. And you can see that the consistency was there. It even went a little bit too fast on one of them or a couple of them, so I had to slow down. You want to really pick where you should be running at and stick to that. I was a little bit out by like 10-20 seconds on some, but as long as it was like sub 3:55, I was happy and stay within that sort of area. And with the average heart rate for the whole session, with the recovery, it brings it back down, so it's not like a real hard slog of a session where you're running 20 minutes really hard at pace. So that's such a benefit over running just a hard, high intensity all in one go. Your body never gets chance to learn how to be efficient, and that's the whole point. The recovery is so important in trying to get the best results out of interval training. And there is a spider on my wall, so I'm gonna have to sort that out. Spider is safe and sound outside. So I've explained how beneficial it is to do these sort of interval runs, but you might just be wanting to do your daily runs, and you might just want to spice it up a little bit and not get bogged down with tech and structured running and timing. It starts to get a little bit complicated if you're just starting to run, but you can still do it, and here's how. So this sort of interval session you could do in your daily run would be doing your normal daily run at a conversational pace, like an easy pace that you can just have a conversation at, and then you just randomly pick a time when you're going to run for 1 or 2 minutes at that sort of 8 out of 10 pace, that 80 to 90 intensity, and you just go, and then you recover by walking or standing or even jogging slightly. You don't have to keep time if you don't want to keep your phone on your hands, or even pick something far in the distance and think I'll run towards that or recover for roughly the same amount of time. You're just basically doing something called fartlek running. It sounds a little bit funny, but it just means you're adding in random periods of time where you're going to run at short intensities rather than the sort of 2 minutes that you saw in my session. It's more random on feel. Yeah, so give that a try, spice up your normal daily run, and if you like this episode, please remember to share, subscribe and like, and I'll see you on the next episode.